what more information do we have about?
Well, we have the satellite images that NASA is releasing via EarthSky. You can get it from earthsky.com, which is showing how far-reaching the spill is, and it's very bad. The fact of the matter is that there was an open-air reservoir that was containing this toxic waste, which they're not calling toxic, but it burns your flesh to exposure, and inhaling it causes cancer.
And where is this being?
It's water, so
it's just
water will take the shape of the the solid form that it's on, and just trail. It's going everywhere. It's going into the earth. It's going into the atmosphere. It's terrible. The fact that it's not a hazardous material, it leads me to question the wisdom of the European Union. The fact that you could use money in cap and trade, which this would be the basis of cap and trade, that we can have, that a country could pay to have this reservoir to produce whatever it is they're producing in manufacture to sell to people, but have this horrendous, and offset it to like a country like Switzerland, which all they do is have very humorous banking systems and questionable accounting principles, but they're they rich from that, because you can hide your money there, so they make a tremendous amount of money that way, and they have clean air because they don't need to feed themselves because they're taking all our money and channeling it.
Yeah, it's definitely.
If you want a Swiss bank account, sorry, Switzerland.
You're done. You're
it's
done.
the truth, right? So they trade, Hungary credits, and now Hungary has this like festering pool of hazardous material, but technically they're green now because they paid for it.
Yeah, exactly. They're just paying. That's it. The toxicity doesn't go away, but they paid.
Yeah. So it's like somehow you're assassinating. You're hiring an assassin, and somehow you're getting a free right that it's okay to do this. It's not really a crime hiring this assassin because you paid the right people who judge that this is not hazardous or this is an okay.
Well, that's
way
exactly
to
it. I mean, come on, let's be real. I mean, this is right out of Kantar, Hungary. Police have detained the director of the aluminum company responsible for a flood of the caustic red sludge that killed at least 7 people. The country's prime minister said he blamed human negligence for the spill. Well, I considering where it is and what it is and how toxic it is and how it happens, and the same thing with BP, sounds to me like the New World Order's at it again. That's what it sounds like to me. So it goes back to the whole premise that we were talking about. It's poisoning us, and and it's running through Eastern Europe, which is not really the affluent part of Europe. If you notice that too, the real affluent part of Europe is certainly Western Europe. Right. You got Serbia there, you got Hungary, you got the Danube River does flow into a lot of different countries. Mm-hmm. But they're not, it's not France and England and
no, it's not the
Germany.
pretty resort areas. These are the working class.
Working class areas is where it's targeted, where over time these populations are going to get sick and they're going to, the cost effectiveness of the plan that they have is it's just crazy.
Yeah, they're going to die, and we don't know what the generational factor is for being exposed to such high levels of aluminum because
well, that's the whole thing with the
chemistry. It would be horrific to have such a thing happen.
Who would ever think that aluminum would be falling and spewing out of a quote unquote accident, and then another reservoir is going to fail? There's another one. The fear of it failing.
A reservoir of this in open air. I mean, is that the only answer that they came up with? Just like fill up a big pool of it and put it looked like Jersey barriers that they were using, concrete Jersey barriers. I mean, if this is a corrosive substance, it must have been. They must have known that this is not a long-term solution. That concrete is going to be away eventually. It's sitting outside in a reservoir. The sun must be heating it. It must be, vaporizing some form of chemical. I mean, each second you think about it, the more it becomes like, how could this possibly happen?
The only way I could see this happening is by sheer neglect or direct intent, and it's probably direct intent, because this again gives credence to the global carbon tax
Yeah, and you're right, it is a human error, because think of it, who's purchasing this aluminum? Who's purchasing these products to manufacture into something else? They're just as culpable.
Yeah.
You know, unless they're going to use the same old adage, just like, well, I didn't know what I was getting into. Well, excuse me, then, you know.
I agree. I mean, I think it's insidious because, again, this just like the BP situation with what we know is just they're not telling us the truth about the toxicity of this, and this is going to destroy go down there to the Gulf and you'll see what's going on with the people. I don't see any way that you could deny that this was done to say, look, we need a global solution again. Look at all these ecological terrorists. Remember, the New World Order create the problem and then offer the solution. You know, get some really radical people from Saudi Arabia.
Oh, nice, yeah.
To hijack a couple of planes, crash them into some buildings, into the Pentagon, blame it on terrorists in Afghanistan. It's the same phony lie. It's a black operation.
And it seems the upper echelon of leadership is well versed into buying in the human trade and manipulating people to do what they want for a price.
It's exactly right, and it's for that purpose that you have to understand that they create the problem. There was the problem, and they offer a solution. But if you look at the solution, it doesn't solve the problem. In many cases, like the war. I mean, let's face it. Osama bin Laden attacked us. You know, not Saddam Hussein, not the Afghani people. It had nothing to do with that. In fact, we should have invaded Saudi Arabia. Because what was the percentile of terrorists that were from Saudi Arabia? They get one guy from Afghanistan or two.
The Emirate princes are always held unaccountable.
Of course, you know, this is what's going on here. You know, it's the whole truth has to be told that, you know, the agenda of our government is controlled by the global elite of the CFR, the Bilderberg Group, the Club of Rome. They're all connected, but and the UN. The UN is like is the biggest fraud because everybody believes, and they go to there and work, and they believe people believe they're doing the right thing. They believe they're working for peace, but when they say about we have terrorism attacks and they're worrying about an attack, then you know, all of this fear and all of these things, they're setting things up. I mean, the CIA is just, I don't know how many times I'm going to say this, probably every single forum, they're behind most of this. They're behind destabilizing regions and areas to require military action. We have to stop war, period. That's it. Become a peaceful society again. End this.